That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
Fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
So Israel Majamov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson talked about training with Terence Crawford and said the most important thing before a big fight with Canelo is to stay calm. He explained that the pressure is always huge at this level, but the real fight is in the mind. Tyson believes if Crawford can keep his mind clear and not let the moment overwhelm him, he'll be able to perform at his best and make winning look easier.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, who once fought Canelo Alvarez, shared his thoughts on a possible fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. He said Canelo is a great fighter with a lot of experience, but Crawford also has real power in his punches. Since Crawford has moved up in weight and adjusted well, Khan thinks he is stronger than ever. He believes this won't be a one-sided fight because both boxers have amazing skills and can change the fight with just one move. While Khan respects Canelo's success at higher weights, he also warns that Crawford's ability to adapt and take on new challenges makes this fight very hard to predict.
Did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot,
Make me think.
We're not catching and shooting.
We're catching and resetting and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner, I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, Sean, tell me what's wrong. I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, your legs kind of tight? He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit problem.
He said, all right, we're not going to use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah, so, to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hell up.
I don't know what round it is. Chill out.
You don't even know what round it is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have raised concerns about Terence Crawford's age and his limited experience at higher weight classes. By the time this fight with Canelo happens, Crawford will be around 38, and age in boxing can affect speed, reflexes, and recovery. Although he moved up to 154 pounds and fought Israel Madrimov, many still doubt if that one fight proves he's ready for someone as experienced as Canelo in bigger divisions. Experts say Crawford's skills are still sharp, but his body may not respond the same way it used to. They see this as the biggest challenge of his career, testing him not only in skill, but also in strength and mental toughness.
He's successful September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have stressed that their training is all about smart preparation. They want to avoid the mistakes Jermell Charlo made when he lost to Canelo. Crawford says he is not Charlo, and his style, discipline, and ring intelligence make him different. His team is focused on movement, accuracy, and pacing rather than just power. Their plan is to use strong defense to frustrate Canelo and then strike back with counters. Training has been tough, with hard conditioning and sparring sessions designed to match Canelo's strength and pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Critics and analysts have pointed out the risks that come with moving up in weight, as it can reduce a boxer's speed and agility. Recent photos of Terence Crawford looking bigger have sparked debate, though experts remind people that pictures can sometimes be misleading. Still, the concern is real. At his age and with extra weight, can Crawford keep the quickness that has always been his biggest strength? Gaining muscle may add power, but it can also affect endurance and flexibility.
Man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bud Crawford with him looking absolutely massive. But I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Bud Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course, Terence Bud Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Bud Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. The lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, does not believe Crawford has a real chance against Canelo. He compared the fight to a sparring session, saying Crawford is too small to compete with Alvarez. Sanchez explained that Canelo's natural size, strength, and experience at higher weights give him a clear advantage. While he respects Crawford as a great fighter, he believes skill alone cannot overcome the physical realities of boxing.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri has a different view and questions the hype around this fight. While many fans and promoters call it one of the biggest in boxing history, he disagrees. Algieri says it's an exciting matchup, but not the greatest ever, especially when compared to past fights where both boxers were in their prime and evenly matched. He also warns that people might be overrating the drama since Crawford is moving into new weight territory against a champion like Canelo, who is already proven at higher divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
This guy, he didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
What's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
All right, I'm out of
exactly.
here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean,
Great
but
fight.
this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult points out the big difference in the level of opponents Crawford and Canelo have faced. He argues that none of Crawford's past opponents could match the quality of fighters Canelo has gone up against. Canelo has fought and beaten champions across several weight classes, while Crawford, though undefeated, hasn't faced the same kind of top names. Some critics say Canelo avoids the toughest challenges by picking easier fights, but his supporters disagree, saying every opponent he's faced has been respected and proven, with many being champions. When comparing records, Canelo clearly has had the tougher career, taking on elite fighters across divisions, while Crawford's resume, though perfect, doesn't include opponents of the same level.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage show Crawford's serious dedication as he prepares for Canelo. His camp includes strength work, hard sparring, and conditioning to build endurance. He is also trying new training methods to handle bigger punches and longer battles in the ring. Along with physical fitness, his team is focused on mental toughness, discipline, and staying calm under pressure. The main challenge for Crawford is dealing with Canelo's relentless style. While Crawford's defense and movement are excellent, Canelo is known for patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, but Spence did not have the size, power, or patience that Canelo brings to the ring.
And that usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches like just to take off the steam off the punches.
Former world champion Kell Brook explains why he favors Canelo in this fight. He respects Crawford's win over Errol Spence, but points out that Spence is not on Canelo's level. Canelo brings a rare mix of power, experience, and smart tactics that Crawford has never faced before. He has proven himself many times at higher weight classes, against bigger and stronger opponents. Brook believes that while Crawford's skills are world-class, they may not be enough to handle Canelo's size, strength, and ring intelligence. He sees this as the toughest fight of Crawford's career, against the most complete fighter he has ever faced.
I've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, move up, and I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay, but when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out-moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. It's like he's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches, chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.